And
Evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Council, Town of Petawawa to order for November 4th, 2024. Welcome to members of council, staff, and our studio audience, and everybody watching at home as well. We'll start our meeting off this evening with the reading of the land acknowledgement, and this evening it'll be Councillor Kuchel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we gather this evening, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of the Petawawa Town Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Omama-Winini Algonquin people. We'd like to thank the Omama-Winini people and express our respect and support for their rich history. We are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years, and we wish to acknowledge our shared responsibilities in responding to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission 94 calls to action. Call to action number 30. We call upon federal, provincial, and territorial governments to commit to eliminating the overrepresentation of Aboriginal people in custody over the next decade and to issue detailed annual reports that monitor and evaluate progress in doing so. Recent progress. Much has been done, for example, through the federal pathway. The Government of Canada reaffirmed its focus on dismantling barriers to justice for Indigenous peoples, which include policy, legislative, and program reforms that acknowledge that Indigenous-led, multi-sectoral, and healing responses are needed to support Indigenous victims and their families, as well as Indigenous people who are accused and Indigenous offenders. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kutu. And now I just ask all of those in attendance to please stand for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you very much. I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Moved by Councillor Driscoll, seconded by Councillor Ruth, that the agenda for the November 4th, 2024 regular meeting of council be adopted. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest on any of this evening's matters? Next up, we have some minutes from the council meeting of October 21st, 2024. I need a motion to approve those minutes. Moved by Deputy Mayor Safran, seconded by Councillor Kutu, that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held October 21st, 2024 be approved as printed and circulated. Any comments or questions on the minutes? Then I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, we'll start this evening's meeting off with a presentation from Wayne Bando on the Black Bay Quarry Haul Route. Wayne, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, member of the council. As you've indicated, I'm Wayne Bando, a resident of town of Petawawa. I was born here in 1945, so I have a wealth of history going through here. I'm a professional engineer and have 48 years experience in the municipal sector, starting from 1969 through to 2017. A lot of that time was spent working with the aggregate industry. The township of Vaughan was my first place of municipal employment, and Maple was a major aggregate producer for the Toronto area. So haul routes are part of my life, and a lot of experience that I have in dealing with them. The town has this year posted the sign saying your tax dollars at work, so that certainly prompted me into getting more involved. A lot of you remember I used to come to the council meetings on a regular basis, and then I sort of weaned myself off of that when I got the nod by saying here's what our tax auditors are doing. We like the public to get involved. I was fortunate enough to be sponsored by the town of Richmond Hill to attend the executive MBA class at the University of Western Ontario. And one of the early sessions was look at yourself through the eyes of your customer if you can stand the pain. But what you think you're doing really great, the people that you are supposed to work for are trying to serve have a different idea. The Elkie Quarry was original application by H&H Construction. And it is a very major industrial project in the town of Petawawa. The estimated volume is over 40 million tons. They've got a license for 450,000 tons per year. So that gives a minimum life expectancy of 89 years. That's pretty well 9 decades that there's going to be truck traffic, not only coming out of the quarry, but it's also the same number of trucks going into the quarry. To get a loaded truck, you have to have an empty truck enter. The annual traffic is estimated to be about 30,000 trucks per year, plus the daily service vehicles, because you always have repair vehicles going in and out at the same time. At a peak production on a quarry of this magnitude, it depends on the number of loaders you have on site and how quick they can load a truck. So a general rule is that once they have a major contract that they have to supply, they can get a truck out of there every 4 to 6 minutes. So there's not very much headroom between the trucks leaving. The engineering report prepared for the quarry was that 75% of all loads leaving the quarry, when they came to the Highway 17 and Black Bay Road intersection, 75% of them would be turning west onto Highway 17. So when I did my analysis here, by turning west on the 17, that meant that these trucks would all end up here at Murphy Road and Highway 17, because there's no other exits coming off 17. The owners of the quarry here also own the asphalt plant on Portash Road over here. What has changed from 2019 to now is that Miller Paving, when they applied to get their license extended up at the Kirkcott pit, indicated that they would be permanently closing down that asphalt plant on Grants Road, which now means that the production capacity that used to come out of the Miller pit is now going to be somehow divided between what is now the BEI asphalt plant on Portash Road and Greenwood Paving over in Laurentian Valley. So the traffic volumes of asphalt, so the asphalt trucks coming out of Portash site will be definitely increasing in the future because there's no longer competition from Miller Paving. Over the years, and I don't know exactly when, but I was working on the summer student on the township roads back in 1961 and 62. At that time, Murphy Road here was barely a 2-lane road. Since then, it was reconstructed to an industrial road to handle the truck traffic coming out of the Grants pits and the Kirkcott pit up on up on Ranch Road. Based on that predominantly foot traffic, MTO have chosen the Murphy Road and Highway 17 as one of their main intersections. As you're all aware, the Paquette Road and 17 is presently signalized due to the traffic coming out of Base, and down here on Doran Road and Highway 17, it's also signalized. Anybody who's traveled in that area of Murphy Road and Highway 17 this summer will see that the Ministry of Transport has done major paving work in that area. And so definitely it is probably the next intersection that will be signalized once the traffic there reaches their threshold. The fact that Murphy Road was reconstructed by the township or whether it was the town at that point, but it was constructed to an industrial standard and has served the community well. The road base has basically withstood the test of time, except for some minor settlements over some of the swampy areas. When I asked people why people living up in Black Bay would come down Black Bay Road instead of going down Murphy Road, he said it was too rough. Part of that, I mean, because of the pits in the area, the town has received royalties from the aggregate producers, and that money wasn't available for repairs to Murphy Road. The design criteria that's constructed for Murphy Road has a platform width of 11.2 meters and a surface width of 7 meters. So in the old terms, this would be a lane width of 12 feet. The Milky Quarry was only first put into service last fall. Hasn't taken long for some of the shortfalls to show up. Hasn't taken long for some of the shortfalls to show up as the traffic is now starting to come to the intersection of Black Bay Road and Highway 17. The main problem at that particular intersection was, number one, it was never designated by MTO to be an intersection. It was only after Angus Campbell got involved and there was a political decision made to open an intersection at Black Bay Road and Highway 17. The design of that intersection has never been to the same standard as Murphy Road and Highway 17. And this is most obvious by the intersection of Freebie Road onto Black Bay Road into the immediate vicinity of Highway 17. People may be more familiar with Swans Road and Laurentian Drive and Petawawa Boulevard, but there's a major difference. That is, when traffic comes off of Petawawa Boulevard and they want to enter Swans Road, they make a right-hand turn. They do not have to cross the approaching traffic. Traffic coming off of Highway 17 that wants to exit into Preview Road has to cross the eastbound traffic on Black Bay Road. The technical problem is that with the trucks that the aggregate industry is now using, being a highway tractor and a triaxle trailer, The length of that is 72 feet or just under 24 meters. So when you have one of these tri-axle tractors and trailers at the stop block onto Highway 17 and any other car behind it, Freebie Road is blocked off. I've noticed a number of times when I've been approaching it that if there's a traffic coming from the Pembroke area on Highway 17 and wanting to make a left-hand turn onto Black Bay Road, it's very hard then for traffic trying to exit from highway or from Black Bay Road onto Highway 17. So it doesn't take very many cars to have that the access to Freebie Road is blocked by one tri-axle trailer and one car. And then you get a couple of people coming from the west, coming home from Canadian Nuclear or from Garrison Petawawa, and suddenly the traffic heading west on Highway 17 can't exit. The traffic trying to exit from the other direction on 17 onto Black Bay Road can't exit because nobody can exit onto Freebie Road. This, to correct this is probably a $300,000 or $750,000 project by the time you buy land, hire a consultant, and actually do the work. So the question comes down to is who pays? In my tenure on the municipal sector, the last 10 years I spent at the city of Barrie. I was infrastructure planning engineer, and I coordinated the master transportation plan for the city of Barrie, and then also the 5-year update. We always had a strong liaison with the county of Simcoe and the Ministry of Transport on what we were proposing to do and what they were doing. And in the case of Barrie, it was particularly critical with Highway 400 going through the center of Barrie. And anytime you tried to, you had a major arterial crossing Highway 400, you were into major structural work over Highway 400. So I find it very strange that there does not seem to be any dialogue with the Ministry of Transport on the selection of this route, because obviously their preferred access point for aggregate traffic would be at the Murphy Road intersection. To show you what, I guess, to just how stringent they are on access, when Blair Jones tried to get severances on the first 100 acres he bought immediately west of Highway 17 on Murphy Road, they denied his severances because they didn't want any intersecting traffic coming within a certain distance of Highway 17. This due to the fact that, you know, this traffic is only going to increase in the coming years, and it's going to be there for at least 89 and probably closer to 100, because no quarry ever actually fulfills their total aggregate license. That always goes past the original life expectancy of the quarry. At the same time, you're going to get increased traffic on Highway 17 and get increased traffic on Black Bay Road. So when I was talking then to the town staff here, I found out that the DEI had not started any of their obligations that they'd taken over from H&H on improvements to the Black Bay Road. So I feel there's still a time to renegotiate part of this with DEI and come up with a better long-term solution. Also, based on my experience in dealing with the iron industry, the proposed design of adding the 0.25 meters or 9 inches onto the extending the width of asphalt, width of the surface of Blackway Road by approximately 9 inches. This isn't going to work. You can't overlay and have 0.25 meters or 9 inches hanging out there over a gravel shoulder. That crack will always show up with the heavy traffic that occurs with the aggregate industry. In the original application, H&H indicated that expect 40 to 50 vehicles per day. In the last couple of days, with at least 6 different, at that point in time, H&H did not sell to their competitors. BEI have a different policy, and they set a rate for picking up the gravel, and if you choose to buy from them, they're prepared to sell it to you. So in the last couple of days, I noticed that there's been perhaps 6 different companies using the quarry. So instead of having 40 to 50 loads per week, we're getting at least 40 loads per day. But that's neither here nor there. I have to give credit to the quarry people. The trucks have been very obedient on sticking to the posted speed limit. They're not the problem speeding. It's the people living on the road that do the speeding. As I indicated at the start, well, first we're dealing with the aggregate industry. I know that when they have a quarry going, the first trucks head into the quarry at about 6 a.m. in the morning, but they do finish, at their clean time of around 5 o'clock at night. The bylaws here cuts them off at 12 noon on Saturday, no hauling on Sunday, no hauling on statutory holidays. Somehow the town, in their wisdom, said, we should let ATVs use Blackway Road until 11 p.m. at night. That's not very fair to the residents when we're dealing with truck traffic starting at 6 in the morning and then having to put up with ATVs till 11 o'clock at night, 7 days a week, including Sundays and holidays. Somewhere there has to be a better cutoff. And the other point is, the town has saying they're permitting the use of the road by the ATVs, but the town is not policing it. We're getting people out there drag racing on the road, modified mufflers, all this sort of stuff. So if the town wants to encourage ATVs, then there has to be also resources set aside to do spot checks on what they're doing. Anyway, that's my consensus of the situation, based on the physical attributes of the 2 roads, the fact that the MTO has just designed and built the one intersection to accommodate traffic. The other one was a political decision. I feel that the best long-term solution is for the truck traffic to be entering Highway 17 at Mercury Road.
Okay. Well, thank you, Wayne, for coming in this evening and sharing your concerns with us in regards to the truck traffic that's out there on Blackway Road. Just one thing I'll say before I open it up for questions and comments from members of the council. Keep in mind that someday, probably not in our lifetime, but Highway 17 will be twinned. It will continue from Calabogie and hopefully get all the way up to Chalk River. We are making some requests as the town of Petawawa that the MTO and the provincial government start the twinning now up in Chalk River and start to work eastwards. And then we'll meet somewhere in the middle. Whether or not our request is listened to or acted upon, who knows? But that's what we'd like to see, because there's a tremendous amount of traffic up here in our area, especially with the Garrison and C&L. And you're right about Murphy Road. The MTO a long time ago purchased that property with the intention of making that a cloverleaf intersection. So that's why it takes up a bigger footprint than Black Bay Road. And should the 4-laning or the twinning of the highway happen, Murphy Road would be a cloverleaf intersection. Black Bay Road would be an overpass, underpass, or a dead end road. So that's why there's the differences in those two intersections. But thanks again, and I'll open it up to council for questions or comments. Councilor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, actually, I guess this would be more of a question for Dale or staff. Why was Black Bay Road chosen in the first place? You know, compared to Murphy Road, like what made the difference? And if we're worried about road condition of Black Bay Road, would Eichstätt Road be capable of handling this traffic the same way as Murphy Road would be? My question.
Right, I'd have to answer from here. So there was an independent third-party traffic study that was done prior to it opening that warranted both Black Bay Road and Murphy as being all routes. You're correct about Eichstätt. It also would require upgrades for increased flow of traffic. What was the first part of the question then? Councilor?
Just why Black Bay was chosen compared to rerouting over to Murphy.
I think the answer to that is in both routes. For traffic, a lot of traffic would be going east, not just west. So if there's trucks going into the DI pit, it's not necessarily a guaranteed thing that they're going to come out of the pit and go through Eichstätt, up Murphy, and head to DI plant. They could be going to Chalk River, Deep River, they could be going to Pembroke, the other direction as well. So it doesn't really make sense to force them all to Murphy Road.
So like as of right now, both are approved haul routes, or just Black Bay Road is the approved haul route?
At the current time, Murphy Road is constructed as a haul route, but Black Bay Road is being used, and also Eichstätt. So as part of the upgrades with regards to this pit, there was money set aside that H&H now BEI is going to spend it up to help upgrade Black Bay Road so that the platform's wider. We're also looking at paved shoulders to mimic the look of Black Bay Road on the other side of the highway where we've reconstructed it already. That would be the goal for Black Bay Road in the future, as well as Eichstätt.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Further questions or comments? Okay, well, I guess, thank you again, Wayne, for coming in. We've heard your concerns, and I don't know at this point if council wants to give any direction to staff or just hear Wayne's concerns and take it under consideration moving forward in terms of our dealings with BEI and their potential upgrades of the roads out there as part of their contract, or any changes in the haul routes because of it. Everybody good? Wayne, you have another question? Go ahead.
Under your existing bylaw, there's no using of Murphy Road by truck traffic coming out of the Milk Quarry. It's Black Bay Road from the quarry to Highway 17 is designated as a haul road. And in fact, the bylaw says that the quarry operator must instruct not only their own trucks, but any other trucks using the quarry not to use Murphy Road.
So I guess if I can ask Chris another question, are there any trucks presently leaving the Milky Quarry and turning left in Eichstätt and going to the Murphy Road?
I believe they are, yes. Not all of them, but I'm pretty sure that the drivers use the quickest route to where they're going. So yeah, there are certain trucks traversing through Eichstätt over to Murphy. can't police it, with the resources we have. I think most trucks are using Black Bay Road and going on the highway, but there are some that are crossing over and then going down Murphy and it's that way, yes.
I guess perhaps one thing for council's information, and I think that would be interesting to find out, would be how many actual trucks are using the Milky Quarry on a daily basis. Because 450,000 ton in a year seems like an awful lot. And I don't know if there's that many trucks around here to haul that amount of material out of the quarry. So it'll be interesting to find out from DEI how many trucks are actually going in and out of the quarry on an average daily basis, I guess. If that's one thing you can find out.
Yes, so I did a little bit of research on this and, this year there was, plus or minus 120,000 ton taken out. So the quarry's running at about a quarter of its capacity. You would need a really large project to pull that amount of aggregate out. From what I'm told from DEI, this was a busy year, so 120,000 tons seems probably more reasonable on an annual basis. And I would certainly say that the numbers that are being presented here tonight, the truck numbers are based on 450,000 tons coming out per year. So those are huge quantities. I don't even think we have enough trucks in the area to haul that much aggregate. So I think we need to look at this from the standpoint of what the current conditions are at this time.
So if 2024 was a 124,000 ton year, a busy year, and that's a quarter, so I guess if you did the math, it'd be a quarter of the truck traffic that it would take to do the 450,000 tons.
That's correct, yes. There's also some other numbers that I may provide different data that I don't agree with all these numbers.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Again, thanks again, Lynn, for coming in and expressing your concerns. And we certainly, anytime somebody comes in with concerns about anything, we take it all under advisement whenever decisions are made. And thanks again. Okay, next up we have bylaws. Bylaw 1696/24 being a bylaw providing for the erection of stop signs at intersections. I need a motion for first and second reading of the bylaw. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stafford. That bylaw 1696/24 being a bylaw providing for the erection of stop signs at the intersections be read a first and second time. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1696/24 being a bylaw providing for the erection of stop signs at intersections. This constitutes first and second reading of bylaw 1696/24.
I need a motion for third and final reading of bylaw 1696/24. Moved by Councillor Donovan, seconded by Councillor Driscoll. That bylaw 1696/24 be read a third and final time and passed. And if you'll remember from our meeting last week, that's the Chad, Zachary, and William Thomas Drive all-way stop and the Canadian Forces Drive and Town Center Boulevard intersection. Are there any questions or comments on the bylaw? Then I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1696/24 being a bylaw providing for the erection of stop signs at stop signals at intersections. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1696/24, this fourth day of November 2024.
Next, we have bylaw 1697/24 being a bylaw to authorize a development agreement with 1000671679 Ontario Limited, Dr. Michelle Scantlin. I need a motion for first and second reading of the bylaw. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Councillor Roots. That bylaw 1697/24 being a bylaw to authorize a development agreement with 1000671679 Ontario Limited, Dr. Michelle Scantlin be read a first and second time. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1697-24, being a bylaw to authorize a development agreement with 100671679 Ontario Limited, Dr. Michelle Scantlin. This constitutes first and second reading of bylaw 1697-24.
I need a motion for third and final reading of bylaw 1697/24. Moved by Deputy Mayor Savard, seconded by Councilor Driscoll, that bylaw 1697/24 be read a third and final time and passed. And this bylaw was about subtle changes to the design of the building. Any questions or comments on the bylaw? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1697-24, being a bylaw to authorize a development agreement with 100671679 Ontario Limited, Dr. Michelle Scantlin. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1697-24, this 4th day of November 2024.
Next up, bylaw 1698/24, being a bylaw to provide that section 50, paragraph 5 of the Planning Act not apply to block 60 and block 61 in registered plan 49M-50. I need a motion for first and second reading. Moved by Councilor Root, seconded by Councilor Driscoll. Jonathan? That bylaw 1698/24, being a bylaw to provide that section 50, paragraph 5 of the Planning Act not apply to block 60 and block 61 in registered plan 49M-50 be read a first and second time. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1698-24, being a bylaw to provide that section 50, subsection 5 of the Planning Act not apply to block 60 and block 61 in registered plan 49M-50. This constitutes first and second reading of bylaw 1698-24.
Need a motion for third and final reading of bylaw 1698/24. Moved by Councilor Cupido, seconded by Councilor Donovan. That bylaw 1698/24 be read a third and final time and passed. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1698-24, being a bylaw to provide that section 50, subsection 5 of the Planning Act not apply to block 60 and block 61 and registered plan 49M-50. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1698-24, this 4th day of November 2024.
Okay, next we have correspondence. The first one is from Good Roads Board of Directors, and it's about an establishment of an Ontario Rural Road Safety Program. And it comes from Scott Butler, the Executive Director. If you had a chance to read it, it's a resolution that they established an Ontario Rural Road Safety Program. And it's basically saying that Ontario's rural roads are proportionally more unsafe than urban roads, and that there's more accidents, more fatalities. And the Good Roads, Ontario Good Roads, is looking to adopt this resolution and asking for our support that they put together this Ontario Rural Road Safety Program. So what we're looking for from council today is a support of this resolution that's being put forward by Ontario Good Roads. Are there any questions or comments about the resolution? Everybody's good. I'll just let you know that it came before the county this last week. Same resolution came before county council, and they asked just for a couple of small amendments to it, but basically the support is there from the county as well. Okay, if everybody's good with that, I need a motion to support the resolution. Moved by Councilor Roots, seconded by Deputy Mayor Savard. Okay, settle in. This is a long one. The Council of the Corporation of the Town of Petawawa supports the Good Roads Board of Directors recommended resolution. And be it resolved that the Town of Petawawa requests that the Government of Ontario take action to implement the Rural Road Safety Program that Good Roads has committed to lead. It will allow Ontario's rural municipalities to make critical investments needed to reduce the high number of people being killed and seriously injured on Ontario's rural roads. And further, that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Premier Doug Ford, Honorable Pradmeet Sakaria, Minister of Transportation. Honorable King Surma, Minister of Infrastructure. Honorable Rob Black, Minister of Agriculture. Honorable Lisa Thompson, Minister of Rural Affairs. Honorable Trevor Jones, Associate Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Response. Honorable Sylvia Jones, Minister of Health and Good Roads. And further, that this resolution be circulated to all municipalities in Ontario requesting their support. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, next we have minutes from the council and committee meeting, October 28th, 2024. I need a motion to approve those minutes. Moved by Councilor Tupou. Seconded by Councilor Driscoll, that the minutes of the council and committee meeting held on October 28th, 2024 be accepted by council and that resolutions from that committee become resolutions. Any questions or comments? Then I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Next, we have the Ottawa Valley Waste Management Board meeting minutes of April of 25th, 2024. I need a motion to accept those minutes. Moved by Councilor Roos, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sabourin, that the minutes of the Ottawa Valley Waste Management Board meeting held on April 25th, 2024 be adopted as information. Councilor Roos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and you can see by the minutes that this was my first meeting on the committee. I did speak to a lot of the highlights, but just to go over some things of importance. We did have a tonnage report, and we did have some policy and procedure updates. Then some corporate policy changes. But anything other than that, I'd be more than willing to take questions on that. Thank you.
Questions on the report? Oh, Deputy Mayor Sabourin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Murray, just a question with respect to the reconstruction and expansion of the site site entrance. Occurred and how did that go?
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. That has been completed and it has gone very good. It looks great out there. So next time you're out, please make sure you check that out. Thank you.
Further questions or comments on the report? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Next, we have Petawawa Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting minutes from September 19th, 2024. I need a motion to accept those minutes. Moved by Councilor Donovan, seconded by Councilor Driscoll, that the minutes of the Petawawa Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting held on September 19th, 2024 be adopted as information. Councilor Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Most of these points have been brought up through council reports, essentially highlighting that the September meeting is launching for our street accessibility, sensory Santa, which will be coming up in December, as well as looking into the accessibility of the community garden that we thought was on its way. Of interest in this set of minutes specifically is the purchase of the You Taught Me, which is a children's book that addresses accessibility and EDI principles as well. It's a great little book that's been given out to all our local schools, as well as the library have that. If anybody has any questions on any of the other information, I'll be happy to answer.
Questions on the report? Deputy Mayor Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Councilor Donovan. Karen, just a quick query as to how did the accessible trick or treating go at both fire halls? I know you'll be reporting what you did, but I'm curious ahead.
That's good. I'm happy to help you out there. It was a huge success on both sides. So the site one, fire hall one, out toward out on Schwartz Road, had higher numbers, probably double what we've ever had before, and good communication between the kids as well as the firemen. Reports from the people that were staffing here at the fire hall here, so their numbers were way up as well. So lots of good, happy children and adults.
And thanks to you and your committee and all the volunteers that were out there. It was a great success. And I gotta tell you, it was a good idea to have the lights flashing at the Schwantz Road station, because I was driving right by and you saw the lights and that drew us in like moths to the street lights, so that was good. Any other questions or comments? Okay, then I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Next, we have Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting minutes from September 25th, 2024, and the motion to accept those minutes. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sabrin, that the minutes of the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting held on September 25th, 2024 be adopted as information. Councillor Coutu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So at this meeting, substantially what we did, we brought forward the community survey report, and I'm excited to say that will finally be coming to council, likely early December. But a member of our committee will be here to present, so it's going to be nice for you to see some of the faces that are doing the work here. During this meeting, also, we took some steps forward on our Safe Space sticker project, so stay tuned for that rolling out. Further, we discussed the success of our Legacy of Hope exhibit that we partnered with the Garrison for, and going forward, we're hoping to renew that partnership for another round next year. And then we also discussed moving forward on drafting and proposing some reconciliation policies to council. So we now have the benefit of Alder Pat Aird on our committee, and with their help and some other hard work on the committee, we're hoping to bring some things forward that council can look at and then hopefully put into writing in terms of our orientation towards our very important partners. So if there's any questions, I'm very happy to address them.
Questions on the report? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, next we have staff reports, FIN-17-2024, our 2024 year-to-date financial results. Christine. Very exciting results. We're saving some money.
So to preface my report, I do want to specify that the numbers presented in this report within the operating and capital budgets are as of October 15th. And so that is technically, I want to be specific, 79.16% of the way through the year. So we are more than 3/4 of the way through the year, even more so now today. But giving that context there, on the whole, from a departmental perspective, in the report, I've indicated some seasonality in terms of significant costs incurred in the administration budget, for example, with respect to insurance. So our renewal, we renew our insurance mid-year, so in July, so that's how you'll see that spike. I wish all of our expenses were, I use the term peanut buttered, evenly spread out throughout the year, but that's not the case. But on the whole, from a departmental perspective, there's nothing significant or concerning on the operating budget. So as you can see from the administration table shown, and then in the comments in the report too as well, going through each department. So I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you may have, but I just wanted to give that very high level summary and commentary.
So you are going to stop after each section for questions? Or you?
I think when I presented the report in the past, I've kind of given an initial commentary. I'm happy to go through departmentally if you wish, or if there's any burning questions.
Maybe you could just go through each department, just quickly, though, like low level. Because we've all had a chance to go through it.
Go through it, yeah.
If you just want to give us any of the highlights, no lowlights.
So from, I've already touched on administration, building, looking at where we are with respect to revenues, tracking towards reaching our budgeted revenues, and on track for expenses or below budget on the expenses side. In the past, the building department in previous years has been quite aggressive with their revenue forecast. This year, we took the, for the 2024 budget, we took the 3-year average of actuals to determine our budget estimate for the building department. So that's proving to be the right approach, and we'll most likely continue that approach for the 2025 budget cycle. With respect to community services, we did start off Q1 quite strong, where there was the strike on base. So that did us some favors in accelerating our user fee revenue at the beginning of the year. So that has continued to strengthen our revenues throughout the year. As well, on the operating expenses side, obviously the transfer to reserve, that's a year-end item, so it does kind of skew the numbers quite a bit. But on each of the individual other operating lines, we're on track, we're on budget, so to speak. Council, very short and sweet. Nothing concerning there, on track. Economic development, do want to say that a lot of Christine Mitchell's activities are upcoming. So there, again, there's that seasonal nature of the Veteran Business Expo, as well as the Marion Bright. So a lot of economic development activity happening in the fourth quarter. So that's why that 59% is low. But I wouldn't count that as savings just yet, because there's a lot happening in Q4 from an operational perspective. Lastly, environment. The only comment there is a lot of our bins that we do sell at cost here, we have run out of. So we have had to order more, but as I said, we sell those back at cost. So even though we are kind of tipping the budget here, we will recoup those costs through revenues once we sell the items back. Fire, on track again. From a user fee perspective, permits are renewed throughout the year. And then on the contractor side, we have not incurred any contractor costs. A significant chunk of that line item is with respect to the town's portion of the new dispatch system that the county is going to be rolling out. So we haven't had any new information yet. If any new information comes to light, we obviously have those funds earmarked for that cost. Time will tell matter, so we do have the funding for it. Lastly, library, we cut our monthly check to them based on their budget, so no concerns there. Planning, again, nothing concerning there. Contractors are based off of the additional building inspection that we may need throughout the year, so it's very hit or miss. And there are some other costs that just haven't happened. Lastly, protection, so that's animal control, bylaw enforcement, police, as well as the police services board. Nothing concerning, again, no big highlights. And then last, we've got Public Works, at least from an operating budget perspective. Public Works, I do want to highlight that our inventory line, so salt and sand, after speaking with our Director of Public Works, Chris, that will be a significant savings. We had a light winter, so based off of that, we're not going to be requiring as much to kind of top us up for the upcoming winter. But what those savings could mean for us, which we do not currently have, is a winter control reserve. So something that could, so that we'll be bringing forward during the 2025 budgeting cycle to help us deal with Mother Nature, as we can't anticipate what winter will be like. So if we had a reserve to help us with those peaks and valleys, again, with the volatile weather becoming more frequent. So that's something too as well we could consider doing with some of that savings on that line there. And then water and sewer, those are separate funds from our operating. And revenues continue to be in line with expenses. There is going to be some reshuffling of people costs between the water and sewer fund. It's just how our financial system codes our payroll, so we'll adjust at year end. And again, transfer to reserve is a balancing act that we do at year end. And then lastly, sewer, the only comment there on the capital project line is that there will be savings there as the Portage Road project. Once they got into it, realized that the funds were not required for the sewer portion of the project. So those funds will stay within the sewer reserve and should be and have to be used for future sewer projects, such as a sewer extension project or other infrastructure projects requiring sewer. So it's restricted to sewer funding. I'm gonna grab some water and give you guys a chance if you have any questions. Overall, yes. So that's a lot of individual departmentally or department views. So new for Q3 is this summary table here. So overall, yes, we still have Q4, 2.5 months of Q4, which we are expecting some additional funds to come through on, and we are 28% left to spend on expenses if we spend it all. That's just on the operating budget year to date. That does exclude, I do want to say exclude water and sewer. It is just the departmental budget because water and sewer, I'll say it again, are separate from our operating budget.
Okay, we'll take a break there, and as members of the council have any questions or comments, I'd just like to congratulate council first on being the most fiscally responsible department in the entire organization. Councilor Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Christine, I really like the way the fiscal responsibility from each department is presented. Very good. And I like this whole format, the way it comes to Sports Council. It's nice to look at everything. And here we are in Q3. It's hard to believe that I like the way the numbers are rolling out. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Sadler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you to Christine. I guess kudos to the different departments for expending their budgets wisely and making the items that we put forward part of our budget actually happening. So just a comment on two of them, maybe a question on one. Community services, you had said we've got 95% user fees. You said that was, of course, the spike for the big as a result of the strike. So I would expect then that will top well over 100% as it rolls out at the end of the year. And be interesting from my perspective to see what that actually meant in terms of dollars and cents. And I don't mean it now, just something that perked my interest. The second one is under protection for police services board. We do have 2 new members as part of the police services board. So I'm just wondering if the 22,000 on budget has incorporated those already, or if that will roll itself out at the end of the year as an overage just because of the appointments that started in April 1 of 2024. Thank you.
So the latter question regarding the police services board, yes, that will put us over. That wasn't, our budget passed in February of 2024, so that was not accounted for. And then just the first question you had about the community services budget, just wanted to get clarification on what you would like to see with respect to the revenues.
Actually, just from a perspective of what money came in as a result of the strike for the extended use of our services, probably extremely difficult to track. I'll just be looking at it from more of a holistic perspective that, you know, if it were 120%, then probably 20% might have come in, maybe not, which means that it becomes a revenue budget reality for the department. Just one of my observations. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
Further questions or comments? Just a point of clarification, the 414,000 that was saved on the sewer work on Portage, that was OSIP funding and it has to be earmarked for capital infrastructure revenue.
So are you referring to the 414,000 within the sewer
Yes.
fund? So the Portage project had a transfer, like a road component, a water component, and a sewer component. So the transportation, like the road project, yes, was funded by OSIF and gas tax funding. And then the water portion is funded by the water fund, and then the sewer fund, or sewer costs, excuse me, are funded by the sewer fund. So any cost savings with respect to the tender coming in lower, with respect to the road portion, yes, would be OSIF and gas tax savings that we could allocate and earmark for other infrastructure projects. However, I'll call it the scrapping of the sewer portion of that project, that's savings within the sewer fund. And the sewer fund compared to the water fund with respect to reserves could use those savings. We do know that our sewer, our capital infrastructure plan for our sewer fund, and it's also in our development charges study, as well as our asset management plan, will need expansion as the near capacity for our sewer fund. So though that 414,000 could be set aside for that expansion or other capital projects. So that it's kind of can't take it out of the sewer fund, so it has to stay with sewer.
Okay, thanks for that. And yeah, big congratulations to all our departments and Christine Cheers, who was looking after all this financial information. But lots of additional revenues being earned and lots of savings being realized by all the departments. So it looks good budget-wise for the town of Petawawa for 2024. And that's the first time I've heard peanut butter used in a financial report. So thanks for being innovative. Okay, do you want to go through the other?
I guess it's in the report and it's worthwhile for you to cover as well. So it is the last section or the last portion of the financial piece is the capital budget. So again, there are a lot of things underway and substantially complete. And then also things that I've noted that we will most likely need to carry over into 2025. I think we as a staff were quite ambitious with everything we wanted to accomplish, and we've done a lot this year. But just as in previous years, we've had projects carried over from 23 into 24, and we'll have that same situation with every budget, 2024 items carrying over into 2025. So if there's any, I guess I do want to highlight any specific projects, or if there's any projects you want to discuss or dig into, I'm happy to answer any specific questions.
Any questions about the capital project? I'd just like to say I love this list. It's a great snapshot of everything that we planned on doing and where we stand with, completion. And yeah, we were pretty ambitious, and I guess we're going to get through everything you have to get through in calendar year.
It gives us our to-do list for next year.
Yeah. I did have a question about the fire, all of the auto extrication and the SCBA equipment. Are we just waiting for delivery of that, or is that something that's going to be pushed off into next year?
My understanding that it's being pushed off. I know with respect to the SCBA equipment, I believe the fire chief Craig is looking at potentially some different procurement opportunities or partnerships with the base in that regard. The SCBA equipment needs to be refreshed, but as to my understanding, those items are being delayed.
And I did field some questions from some people about the fundraising lounge. I know that the renovation began. I mean, they kind of tore the room apart and did some prep work. Is it still the plan to complete the renovations for the fundraising lounge? Or is that something that's going to get pushed off?
I'm not sure. I'll have to. I'd want to give you a definitive answer because I don't know. I can ask and get back to you on that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just curious. I thought we had also at budget talked about the potential for a parkish development at the Silver Threads area. I thought we had allocated about 50,000 for that.
It was not. It was. That was. I think it was. it was in the capital budget, but not for 2024. We had kind of forecasted it for 2025, 2026 at some point in the future, but not 2024.
All coming back to me now, Mrs. Johnson.
Any other questions on the capital chart? Okay,
I do want to point out, Mayor, on page 59 and 56, the portage road, so there are savings there too as well that are expected on the transportation portion of the project. That's where we had allocated a significant amount of our OSIP and gas tax dollars to complete that project. So that's infrastructure funds that we could save for 2025 projects as well, or allocate to 2024.
that's in addition to the 414 saved on sewer, there's additional savings on the roadworks and stuff.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. Okay, next, do you want us to give us a brief synopsis of the vendors pay?
Yes, again, this isn't nearly as financially heavy as the first section, more statistical. So just to give council a sense of who we're paying and what projects we're paying. So Aqua, for example, who manages our water and sewer infrastructure, they are always on the list. And you can see that with the seasonality of our road projects, DEI is at the top of the list with respect to Murphy Road. They did win or were awarded the hot mix patching and resurfacing contracts through the RFP process. So a lot of projects, but giving you that operational flip side, not just from what we're doing, but also who we're paying. If there's any specific questions, the top 18 vendors. So I always try and give you who we paid over $100,000 within the quarter. And that gives us almost 91% coverage of who we paid within the quarter.
And again, this is another chart that I really appreciate. In past years, it was always, you get a monthly report and it was hard to add up everything that you were paying to everybody. So it's great to have a summary of who you're paying and how much you're paying them as time goes along. Any questions or comments about the chart? Okay, any questions overall for Christine and the quarterly report? Councillor Kazoo.
Just a comment of appreciation. I love your summaries, your financial implications, your strategic alignment comments. I really appreciate how you ended. This report will help ensure transparent, fair, and effective government, and I couldn't agree more. So thank you for all your effort. Thank you.
Okay, if everybody's good, I need a motion to accept the report. Moved by Councillor Bruce, seconded by Councillor Driscoll. The council receives this report as information. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Thanks again, Christine. Okay, next we have PW-29-2024, installation of a remembrance crosswalk on Canadian Forces Drive at Petawawa Boulevard. And just for a bit of a preamble on this, I think it was Councillor Driscoll that brought this to our attention. And just to ask, where did you hear of it, Councillor Driscoll?
Local resident office.
Okay. All right, we're ready for your report, Chris.
All right, thank you, Mayor Service. Good evening, everyone. So we're seeking council approval for the installation of a remembrance crosswalk on Canadian Forces Drive at Petawawa Boulevard. As Mayor Service mentioned, early last week, Councillor Driscoll passed along the social media picture of a Remembrance Day crosswalk that are being installed in other municipalities in Ontario. So at the request of our CAO, Scott, staff immediately reached out to our pavement parking contractor, A1 Pavement Parkings, to see if they could provide a similar option for Petawawa. Our community is rich in military history. The garrison is essentially the heart of our community. So investing in the Remembrance Crosswalk is a positive community initiative and shows respect for those who serve now and those who remember. This crosswalk will be visible year-round, And so all residents can remember our men and women in military service throughout the entire year. The crosswalk will be constructed using durable markings, which means that it should last for multiple years. Probably my experience with durable line painting is 5 to 7 years, but we'll err on the side of caution, say 5 years, which would only entail minimal maintenance, minimal touch-ups if required each year. There may be no requirement for any maintenance at all, depending on how it adheres to the road, but should be fairly maintenance-free. The crosswalk, you have a picture that was provided as an example, and it will be red and white alternating patterns for the crosswalk bars, along with a black soldier silhouette, and lest we forget on the crosswalk. So the financial implication, the estimated cost for the Remembrance Crosswalk is $9,887.50, including HST. Because this was an unbudgeted item, Public Works reached out to our finance department to ensure that there was adequate room in our 2024 operations budget to allow for this community initiative, and there is room in the budget to facilitate this. So we're looking for council approval to proceed. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. And just a little bit of further information. So this example came from Hamilton. The city of Chatham has also done one, the white and gray with silhouettes on every bar of the crosswalk. And we have consulted with the local branch 517, Petawawa Royal Canadian Region, to get their opinion on this type of initiative in the town. And the executive is all for it. You'll notice that in this sample diagram, there's a poppy, but in the crosswalk that we are proposing, just the lest we forget and the two silhouettes, and there'll be no poppy. In my meeting today with the members of the Legion, they did suggest that they'd rather not have the poppy there because it's more of a symbol that they would rather not want to have driven on or walked on. But they're all for the red and the white, the lest we forget, and the black silhouettes. So, are there any further questions from Councilor Roos?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for bringing this forward. Yeah, I was concerned about it being a non-budgeted item because it seems to be more and more requests each year about funds and unbudgeted. I was very concerned about that. My other question that I had, but it's been answered about the maintenance on it, because was this going to be another budget line to have a maintenance on this yearly? But now you're telling me this is supposed to last 6 to 7 years. And now the poppy, I was concerned about that, and people like posting comments coming back there. Is everyone okay with people driving on it and stuff like that? But people are okay with that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Driscoll.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good initiative. I mean, after seeing what other municipalities have done, especially municipalities that aren't connected to a garrison the way we are, both the garrison and our municipalities grow together, since garrison is doing really nice in hundreds. So I think something like this, that will be a reminder for 12 months a year. I know we have our banner project that highlights each unit, which I think is great for the month of November. But I think this as a year-long thing, it'll tie in nicely with those. And it'll just be one more act of thanks to all the people that are still active and all our veterans that are still living in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am fully supportive of this project. What I'm not supportive of is using unbudgeted funds and starting a precedent. We do have a budget process, and we take pride in making sure that we take a look at all of the requirements in the town and for the town. We already know next year police services are going to cost us an awful lot more money, and the price of everything just keeps going up. So I would be comfortable seeing this project be part of the budget process and look at for next year. We're already the 4th, so tomorrow will be the 5th of November. And I'm really proud of the banner project that was led by the Rotary Club. The respect to putting all of the units on, the various flagpoles. And that's a cost to the town of about, I think that's about $4,000 a year thereabouts, for Petawawa Electric to take those banners down and put those banners up. So it's not that we're not doing anything, already, and I could certainly see this moving forward for 2025, and that's when my vote will be. In closing, my father was military. My grandfather was served in World War I, and I worked in military families before, so I'm very much aligned with supporting our veterans, supporting our military people. So I would just like to do that in a method that allows us to consider all of our requirements and what has to happen for next year as part of the way we normally proceed. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments, and with that in mind, the CAO and I had some conversations about unbudgeted items. And we talked about perhaps moving forward and having some kind of contingency fund just for such things that arise, because we're finding more and more as we grow as a community, there's more and more initiatives that are popping up that are unbudgeted. And a lot of them are good ideas, and they pop up and we love to do them and not have to wait. So it's come up in a conversation about how to plan for these types of things going forward. Councillor Kutcher.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say, echoing Adam's thoughts, I completely agree that this is a positive community initiative. I think we should be encouraging recognition of every part of our Petawawa community. I love the location choice, not only just because of the name of the road, but when you're thinking about all the development going up on there, how much traffic is going to come through there. I had the same concern as Murray about the poppy. So I just wanted to confirm my understanding. The Legion is saying it's best to remove the poppy. Okay. Because that was something I brought up too. Should we be walking on this? So I love the idea of the stripped down design without the poppy, then there's not that concern. And as far as unbudgeted items, my thinking on this was that budgeting is sort of a prioritization and forecasting exercise. So you prioritize, you forecast, and then the real world takes over. So in the 11th month of the year, we can now look back and say, here's what we overestimated, underestimated, and it's kind of a fortuitous time to have this kind of initiative come forward. And to my view, in the real world, things pop up, opportunities pop up, ideas come up organically, not necessarily all at budget time. So I'm actually happy to support this, though it is unbudgeted, but I do also like the idea of having, a fund or a different process where we can absorb these last minute costs a little more easily, but I'm very comforted by the idea that we have lots of room in the operations budget. So I would definitely support this.
Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chris, is this something that can be put together here and work on before November 11th?
Yes, correct. It can be, if we get the go ahead, it will be installed later this week.
Further questions or comments? Okay, so I hear your concerns about unbudgeted items, and we're going to try and take some positive steps to correcting that in our budgeting process moving forward. But as Councillor Coutu said, I think sometimes, things are organic and they pop up, and you want to be able to have the ability if something like this pops up and it's a good opportunity to take advantage of it. And all of your comments about recognizing our veterans, I think is very important in a community like ours in the town of Petawawa. We've been tied to the military for over 100 years here in Petawawa. So we really are one big community. And I think as a town that serves all of our military members, it's nice that we can recognize them in some way, and not just with our banners for October and November, but with something that is there year round. So I think it's a great project. I guess if everybody's comfortable, I need a motion. Moved by Councillor Driscoll, seconded by Councillor Coutu, that council approves the installation of a remembrance crosswalk on Canadian Forces Drive at Petawawa Boulevard with no poppy in the design. Did I have that in mind? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thanks, Chris, for bringing that welcome forward. Okay, next we'll go to councillor reports. Deputy Mayor Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Taking us back to October the 1st, I participated in the Truth and Reconciliation event held down here at the bandstand, very well done and very well attended. I attended the policy meeting on the 10th of October and the Police Services Board meeting on the 15th of October. I participated in various ramble activities and really enjoyed all of the business and personal ramble pumpkin people going around, and also participated in the Front Trail event on the 20th, which was very, very well done, and the trail was absolutely packed with attendees. On the 23rd, I attended the EDI meeting, and I participated on the 31st of October in being an accessible trick-or-treat destination on Doran Road. I would like to just take a moment to let our community know that once again, the Christmas Angels will be readying the Petawawa Civic Center to allow for delivery and takeout of turkey dinners with all the trimmings on the 25th of December. And very excited to say that we will be renewing our dining in option, which we have not done since pre-COVID. So we're looking very, very forward to that. And we've had some very positive response to our fundraising initiative. So we'll get more of that information out. We're having a little bit of a press release as well as a number of other posters and things like that to get it in the community. And I'd also like, on behalf of the Petawawa Pantry and all of the residents that are supported through that organization, to thank all of our residents for being so generous on both Thanksgiving and Halloween for the various food drives. It really goes a long way to supporting people with financial insecurity issues and making sure that people do not go hungry. So thank you so very much for that community.
Well, that's exciting news that our Christmas Angels will have the indoor dining again. That means we're gonna have a little band and Santa Claus and all the other parts of the festival. Am I pushing my luck?
Mr. Mayor, no, you're not pushing your luck. We are looking at music presently. The family who have provided outstanding musical variety has a lot of family that they need to connect with over the Christmas period. So unfortunately, they won't be back with us with this renewal of the dining in option, but we are exploring a number of options. So if anybody does have a good singing voice and enjoys, not really being good, likes to sing together and Christmas carols and things like that, we'd be more than happy to hear from you. Thank you.
I don't know if you'd want to listen to me sing a Christmas carol. Okay, Councillor Couture.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On October 23rd, I attended the award ceremony for the commercial carpet display contest. And I just want to shout out to Christine again for an amazing ramble. And I think they had over 500 votes for the commercial harvest display contest. So the engagement is off the charts. That night I chaired an Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting on the weekend of October 26th. And this is an amazing community initiative that I am continuously impressed and awed by. But the Haunting on Selkirk, I attended the night version. I'm very proud. But I have to say, to Teresa's comments, the amount of enthusiasm and support that Petawawa Pantry gained from that amazing, again, just group of individuals who wanted to put this together. Big shout out to them and their team of volunteers and all the actors there who scared the heck out of me. And finally, on the 28th, I attended a Petawawa Library Board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for representing me. And I think, Deputy Mayor, were you at the announcement of the award for these business? It was Councillor.
Karen was there. Maybe representing options there.
Thank you for representing me. Councillor Driscoll.
Quick one here. On October 30th, I attended the emergency management training session at our Prior alongside some of our senior public works staff. Then on Halloween, I got the kids there trick-or-treating, and I did stop in both fire stations. See displays and the trucks, they were a very big hit. So just big kudos to the accessibility committee and all the staff for setting that up and staffing booths. It was really nice to see. I really hope it continues because I know I will be there every year. So, and that would be it for me. Thank you.
Councillor Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 23rd of October, I was at the Business Pumpkin School Award ceremony, and yeah, kudos to Christine and Ruby for doing an excellent job, giving some profile to that. On the 24th of October, we had our the Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting. So we had the opportunity to finalize for Halloween and to get some information put together for our Christmas planning. We're also examining a accessible device that will allow for use within the arena to help with skating for those individuals that are not able to support themselves. But we'll have more on that once we get some information from the designer. On the 31st of October, I attended the Environmental Stewardship Committee meeting for CNL, which was great. They had some good information there. There's been a large concern by the group that's there with regards to how much residual radioactive material impacts cellular growth and structure, whether it's a animal or a plant rust. So they did actually bring in a nuclear scientist out of the States who was able to speak to that issue and confirm that we're very well situated here with CNL and the steps that they're taking. That evening, I was at the tree accessibility event. It was a lot of fun, lots of laughing. We did advertise, we paid for advertising this year on the radio, and it seemed to be on the radio all the time. So it was great. So that helped our numbers. And then on the 1st of November, I was able to participate in an orientation for the Senior Advisory Committee that will be launching shortly. It was kind of a brainstorming between council and staff just to see how we see it going forward, what we want to do, and the potential for a brand new chairperson of that committee, whose name starts with a T. But that's it for me.
Thank you, Councillor Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. October 24th, I attended the Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery meeting. That was a very busy meeting, and the topics at hand were tonnage update, as we've seen some very good financial gains on the market side of recyclables. We had a financial report session update also. We did a new cooperative policy renewal for new and existing commercial accounts, just to bring that up to current means. We discussed the blue box transition, which as council is aware of. We had a leach gate system update, as we've seen all the repairs and upgrades that have been completed by mostly done in-house by the staff. And this was a very good cost-effective measure for us, and it's a job well done. We also had a budget. We also have a budget workshop coming up at the end of this month of November. Just a quick festival hall update. Things are going quite well with the acting facility manager, and we're getting some really good cooperation from the school board as well. As we welcome the months of November and December, we have a very busy schedule ahead of us at the hall. The calendar is full of events and shows for all ages, and includes some great Christmas shows. So if you're looking for something to do when it comes to entertainment, please go on to festivalhall.ca to look at all the events that are happening. And then we continue to move forward also with the hiring process for the new directors at facility as well. I will keep council and yourself on the everything that's going on there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Roos. I'll try and keep this brief, because I know the CAO likes my reports. We'll start with October 24th. We, along with the Run Club, we hosted EASA Cross Country Championships on the Garrison Golf Course. There were 900 runners from all over Eastern Ontario. So that's a great boost to our economy when you can get, plus all the coaches and the fans that came as well. But it was a great day and lots of great results. And just so you know, today was awesome, and it was held in Ottawa at Moon's Bay. I'll just give you a quick update of some of the runners who trained here in Petawawa with the Run Club. Isla Kittmer, a novice girl, came 12th in Ontario. Keep in mind, these races have 250 to 300 runners, best runners in all the province. Austin Smith, right here from Petawawa, came 20th in the novice boys race. And Max Durundin came 28th in the junior boys race. Those are 3 runners trained right here in Petawawa for cross country. On the 25th, I attended a doctor recruitment meeting at the Deep River District Hospital, which is a little eye-opening about the difficulties faced in attracting physicians to our area here. On the 28th, there was a special county council meeting at the council chambers, and that was to deal with 2 main issues. One was the changes in procedural bylaws at the county council. Two of the big votes were done on whether to go with committees as a whole instead of the 6 separate committees. It was a close vote too. It was 110 to 101 in favor of going to committee as a whole, which means that all 17 representatives will now sit on all committees, which is good news from my standpoint. I've always wanted to be on the operating committee, and now I am, along with every other committee that is there as well. What that means in terms of time savings, I used to have to drive 3 days a month to the county. Now I'll only have to go 2. There will be longer days, however, because the first Wednesday we'll have a county council meeting in the morning, and then 2 committees in the afternoon, and the second Wednesday, and then first Wednesday and third Wednesday. And the next Wednesday we'll have another county council meeting in the morning, and then the other committees. They have combined a couple of the committees. One of them is going to be called the Joint Services Committee, which is everything that the county does in conjunction with the city of Pembroke. So it'll have health, which is paramedicine, and the long-term care homes, community services, and housing. Will all be in one super committee, I guess we'll call it. So is there going to be time savings? Who knows? But now everybody is on every committee, and everybody will be fully informed at all times. There was a vote as well for whether to have a 2-year term for the warden as opposed to the present 1-year term, and that was voted down. So they're going to stick with the 1-year term for warden instead of going with a 2-year term. The second half of that day was what was called a 2025 capital advancement plan. So they looked at all the capital expenditures for 2025, the earliest they've ever done it, and voted on whether to fast track over $50 million of capital projects. And again, it was a very close and contentious vote, but it got passed. And over $15 million in capital projects were approved. You can start going out to tender. Big one for Petawawa is the Dorn Road. Paving project is all the way from Black Bay Road, all the way to the Petawawa Boulevard for Dorn Road. That was one of the approved projects for 2025. So we can look forward to having a lot of more construction in the town of Petawawa on behalf of the county again. But Dorn Road is in a pretty sorry state from Black Bay Road to the Boulevard, so it'd be great to have that paved. On the 29th, the CAO and I went to a meeting at the City of Pembroke. It's the first meeting of its kind. City of Pembroke, Mayor and CAO met with Whitewater, Town of Petawawa, and the Town of Laurentian Valley. All the mayors and the CAOs got together to discuss mutual topics, let's just say. And it was a good meeting. We figured out that we have a lot of things in common, a lot of things that we can work together on. And it looks like we're going to meet quarterly. That's what we decided. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. On the 31st, there was the 50th anniversary of the Petawawa Civic Center meeting. It is only 2 weeks away now, on November the 16th. We've kind of refined the plans for it. So it will take place Saturday, November 16th at the Civic Center with a old-timers hockey game between the Silver Kings and the Dinos at 6 o'clock. Apparently it was back in 1974 at the original old-timers game. On that exact day, by the way, November 16th, 1974, the Silver Kings played. And there is one player still with us, and that's Brian Bones. We were hoping he could play, but he's on the injured reserve list, let's just say right now. So maybe we're hoping to get him to drop up to that game. And then from there, everybody will move up into the hall. And we'll have a brief ceremony, and then we're going to have a 1970s disco dance in keeping with the 1974 theme. So wear your best off your 70s outfits and meet us up there. It should be a good time. On that same day, the 31st, I attended a Algonquin Forest Authority meeting. They presented the audit for all the forestry that's done on an Algonquin Forest past couple of years. November 1st, I didn't attend this because I was busy here in Petawawa, but they had the grand opening for the Edenville Paramedic Base. They converted the garage that was across from the Shell station into a new paramedic station, which is extended paramedic services a little farther out into the county so that the drives aren't so long. I had a couple class visits at Valor School that day as well. And today I was up at the Garrison. The executive team from CNL was there to meet with the Garrison command team. And I was invited to participate in that. And it was a very good sharing opportunity to meet with all of those folks and talk about all of our shared issues and opportunities here in the town of Petawawa. And lastly, the county council meeting last week. There was a presentation by Family and Children's Services of Renfrew County. And I have to say it was a little bit disturbing what is happening in terms of the funding of this institution and how hard it is for them to do probably one of the most important jobs we have here in Renfrew County, which is to take care of our vulnerable children. So just to give you an idea, in the last 10 years, and this is just the Renfrew County Family and Children's Services budget, they cut 1.5 million slowly over the last 10 years. This year, they announced a 271,000 annual reduction in administration funding. And over the next 2 years, just here in Renfrew County, 963,000 cuts over the next 2 years in the planning funding. So questions were asked of the director, Jennifer White, like, how do you keep doing what you're doing? They've had to lay off 21 staff. And this is in Family and Children's Services here in Renfrew County, and still try and get everything done that they need to do. One of the other disturbing parts of these funding cuts is they have something called kin and alternate care. When it gets to the point where a child is no longer safe for them to be housed in their home, they have a program called kin and alternate care where relatives, grandparents, or somebody else says, can you look after this child? That funding has been cut. So now they're asking families to take children, but not providing them with the funding needed to pay for food and all the other expenses that come with looking after another child. So there's a lot of campaigning going on at the federal level, provincial level. Roma is onto it, and there's going to be some delegations to say to the province, this has to end. We've reached a tipping point where we can no longer provide the necessary services we have to the children in Renfrew County. We also talked about an RFP for an architect for a new ambulance base in the city of Pembroke. So the one that sits just outside the hospital owns that land and that building and just leases it to the paramedics. They need that space and they want county paramedics out of there within 5 years. So they're going to have to build something new. They're looking at a few different plots of land right now, and they want an architect to design something that will meet the needs going forward in the future. It looks like it's going to be a pretty expensive project. Roma, I'll let you know that Roma and the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus are actively looking for answers and solutions for the rising costs of OPP that have been put forth to us for 2025. So it's good that even though this is not part of the mandate, that these institutions are actively campaigning for us to find out why and to find out if there's possible solutions. They thought that perhaps that's why the provincial government increased the funding by 50 million this year, so that it could cover increased policing costs. But the increases that all these municipalities receive does not come anywhere near to the cost of the OPP, especially considering Petawawa is getting zero increase in it. And we're looking at a $330,000 increase in policing. Mesa, there was a report on Mesa. They had 1,480 encounters so far in the 2024 year. So this is Mesa, the Mesa team, the 2 paramedic vehicles with the mental health staff on them, have actually actively go out into the community to meet the vulnerable population where they are. And they had 1,480 encounters. 1,257 of those were in Pembroke, but they also outlined all the success they've been having with getting these individuals the assistance they need, whether it's addiction treatment, mental health treatment, or housing. So it seems like it's working fantastic, and they're asking, again, the provincial government for funding for this for the foreseeable future. Development charges at a county level. You know, they've been discussing that for the past couple of years, that they want to have county development charges. That's been tabled until next year. So it's no longer a discussion item for 2024. And I'll give you a quick Algonquin Trail update. The limestone has been spread all the way through the garrison and all the way up past Deep River. They haven't opened the gate yet at Paquette Road. Sounds like they might wait till snowmobile season. I asked them if they would open special if I showed up on a bicycle, not an ATV. But it doesn't seem like they want to open it now because the ATV season officially ended on November 1st. I believe. So it looks like they may open it for snowmobile season. But it's all done, bridges are done, limestone is spread and it's ready to go. And that's it. Is that quick enough? Okay, we have a closed meeting. So I need a motion to go into close. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Councillor Roots, that the meeting be closed pursuant to section 239, paragraph 2, paragraph E of the Municipal Act 2001, S.O.2001, C.25 as amended to discuss litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Ms. Gable.